Creating custom Pokémon for you! Welcome back, everyone, to the show where we select lucky commenters to spin a series of random wheels that give us factors for a Pokémon that we then create just for you. It's gonna be a super fun episode today, y'all. We have 3 amazing custom Pokémon, but before we get started, I did just want to remind you of a couple things. First off, if you end up liking today's episode, make sure to leave a like on the video. If you want a custom Pokémon in the next episode, make sure to leave a comment, because that's where I get them from, the previous episode. And above all else, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, especially if you want a custom Pokémon, because imagine a world where you did get a custom Pokémon and you never even know it because you missed the notification and you missed the episode. You don't want to live in that world, so subscribe now. And besides that, let's just get into it. And so today's first Pokemon is for Muskie. Glad you like the new format, Muskie. And just like always, we'll start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be a legendary. That is awesome. The first Pokemon of the day, and it's legendary? That is crazy. Now, legendary Pokemon usually don't evolve, but we do still spin this wheel where you have a very small chance to, but unfortunately, none this time. Now, let's see what typing your legendary Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is going to be the ground type. That's really cool for me because that is one of my favorite types of all time. And your ground fairy type, that's actually really interesting because I think that typing doesn't exist in real Pokemon. So this will be the first time a Pokemon with that type combination is ever being made. And the last step before we see what this legend looks like, let's see what its X factor is. Every legendary is guaranteed to have one, and yours is a signature ability. Fun. In the ancient deserts of the Pokémon region, there lives an incredible secret. Ancient structures of impossible complexity and Pokémon that are unlike any other. Because while on the surface they may seem unassuming, they're capable of unlocking new forms whose powers know no equal. Now, of course, we know this to be the process of mega evolutions. However, in the custom Pokémon universe, such a term never existed. This is because the character AZ never existed, the Pokémon War never happened, and the ultimate machine was never built. Instead, this universe's mega evolutions hail from an ancient desert civilization, one that reached extremely high levels of technological advancement despite there being no natural resources near its location. So it's thought that instead of living off their own land, they simply captured the land of all surrounding nations through their large armies of mega evolution Pokemon that could not be stopped. But how did this nation harness the power of mega evolutions? Well, to answer that, adventurer, you'll have to enter the ancient structures themselves, navigating your way through thousands of corridors and many enemy threats. But if you're lucky, you just might make your way to the deepest and most secretive chamber where the creature that mega evolutions hail from lies waiting. Your Pokemon is Whiten, the origin of power Pokemon! This Pokemon is so powerful that by simply harnessing a small amount of its energy in an ancient device was more than enough to kick off the Mega Evolution process. In fact, it's said that when Pokemon merely enter Whiten's presence, they will instantly start to Mega Evolve. This is reflected in its signature ability, Power Origin, that states that when Whiten enters the battlefield, all Pokemon will Mega Evolve if they can, including the opponent. With the downside being, if this ability is used, Whiten must take 1 turn to recharge, during which it's unable to attack. And that's gonna do it for today's first Pokemon. Personally, this is one of my favorite of the entire series, not only because the design is amazing, but also because it fits so well into the lore that we're slowly building for the series and the eventual game, so I absolutely love that. This one was drawn by Moo Moo Milk on Instagram, and they drew the heck out of it, so make sure to go check them out. For the shiny, we went with like this gold armor. I think this is one of the best shinies of all time, y'all. It's sick. But now, let's get into the second Pokemon. And this one will be creating for Addy4139. So alright, Addy, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are gonna get something cool again, a mythical! That is insane! Right after a legendary, and that is only the second mythical of the entire series. Today's episode is insane. Just like legendaries, mythical Pokemon usually don't evolve, but we do still spin this wheel where they have a very small chance to, and you actually got really close, but none this time. Now let's see what typing this mythical Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is going to be None, which actually means whatever this next type is, it's your only type, and that is going to be the Fire type, so you are a pure Fire mythical. And the last step before we see see what your Pokemon looks like, let's see what its X Factor is. Just like Legendaries, Mythicals are guaranteed to have one, and you've got a corrupted form. That is our region's signature mechanic. This Pokemon is shaping up to be amazing. It is told throughout the land that if you can look up and see the sun, then you are safe. Because on this island, if evil dares to step into the light, it will be swiftly taken care of by our great protector. Your Pokemon is Solaspite, the proud sun Pokemon. Legend says that the spirit of the sun and the spirit of the earth are cosmically in love. And even though the two of them are forbidden from ever coming into contact for obvious reasons, the sun is still very protective of the earth. Because of this, the sun could not sit idly by while so many tragedies occurred on earth, so it decided to bestow upon it a great gift. Solaspite is this gift, infused with the mighty power of the sun and dedicated to keeping the earth safe. As I was saying, Solaspite is the closest the Pokemon world has ever seen to a Superman. A completely just and heroic... oh no! It's another corrupted form outbreak! This is not a drill! Our once great protector is now a great destroyer! We've known about the distant, unknown, cosmic, legendary, corrupting regular Pokemon, but now it's able to corrupt mythicals? The entity's power may know no bounds. The Earth as we know it might be coming to an end. Because if the Pokemon born of the sun itself couldn't stand a chance against it, who could possibly stand in its way? And that's gonna do it for today's second Pokemon. Again, there's a lot of lore involved in this one, which is really cool and really good for me in terms of building the fan-made Pokemon game, because the more lore I have to go off of, it's just gonna be easier to build the story and make the game in general. And I don't think I've talked about what exactly a corrupted form Pokemon is in a video yet, so I'll quickly explain. What I imagine they are is a collection of very powerful Pokemon that serve as mini-boss battles sprinkled throughout the playthrough of the game. And when I say mini-boss battle, I don't picture that they deal a ton of damage, but I do picture that they have a ton of HP, which makes them hard to take out. They'll essentially be giant HP sponges that should take your entire party in order to defeat. And of course, once they've been defeated, you'll have a chance at catching the corrupted form of the Pokemon at some point. Anyway, I know I've been dumping a lot of lore on you this episode, but I do hope you're appreciating this new format where I really delve into the backstory of a Pokemon a bit more. I hope you're finding that interesting. Let me know in the comments if you are or aren't. And besides that, here is the shiny form of the Pokemon. It's sick. Gray flames, red body, it looks amazing. This one was drawn by Le Petit Art on Instagram, and again, they drew the heck out of it, so make sure to go check them out. And besides that, let's get into the third Pokemon. And this one's going to be for D. Haynes. Your wait is over, but I hope you still watch the series. So alright, Hayes, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon. Surely it can't get any crazier, right? Yeah, it's just a regular Pokemon, which after an episode this crazy is kinda nice. Now let's see how many times your Pokemon can evolve. You can get 1, 2, 0, or the special Split Evo, and you got 1, which makes you a 2-stage evolution line. Now let's see what typing your Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is going to be the Flying type. That's really good. I think that's one of the rarest types in our entire region. And your Flying Ghost type, that's actually very interesting. And the last step before we see what your Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and you got very close to the Mega Evolution. None this time, but very close. Welcome to Siren City, a place known for being the most haunted area in the entire world. And all of these ghost types constantly wandering around can get really annoying for the people who live there, but thankfully the residents of Siren City have a solution. Your Pokemon is Haunt, the anti-ghost Pokemon. Other ghost types are extremely intimidated by Haunt, which means they sort of serve as guard dogs, or I guess in this case, guard owls. However, there is one issue. The larger, more evolved ghost types that can be found in the city aren't very scared by Haunt, and therefore it's not enough to keep them away. But don't worry, they got something for them too. Because at level 37, it would evolve into Sorowl, the jump scare Pokemon! Just like regular owls, this Pokemon has the ability to rotate its head 180 degrees. And in an effort to look as scary as possible, it constantly keeps its head fully rotated, which is very effective at scaring off other creatures. And that's gonna do it for today's third Pokemon. For the shiny, we went with this green color that I think turned out amazing, and this one was drawn by Send It Above on Instagram. Again, make sure to go check them out. Alright y'all, that's gonna do it for today's episode. I had a ton of fun making this one. I hope you had a ton of fun watching it. If you did, there's much more to see in the playlist. And again, before you leave, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next episode, but until then, peace.